everyone, our group name is 6, and I'm the group leader, named Eliza Pahoye. Today, me and my members are going to do about the concept of human nature in Western and Islamic philosophy. So, my group members are Ala Ahmed, Wafa Ahmed, Sulan Ro, Hala Hatim, Fatima Hatim, Rahana, Mane Muhannad, Ahmad Muhannad, Zaina Amil, Mahmoud Amil, Yusuf Hassan, Aya, and Joey. So these are our group members.
Hi, I am Hannah. Philosophy helps us to understand life, morality, and society works. Islamic and Western philosophy are two major traditions that shape how human nature and responsibility. Islamic philosophy connects reason with religious guidance, while Western philosophy focuses more on logic and critical thinking. Today, ideas like human dignity and justice are central to human rights. However, there are many of these ideas were influenced by Western Enlightenment, which raise questions about their universal. By comparing Islamic and Western perspective, we gain deeper and more balanced understanding of human nature and our role in society.
Hi, I'm Fatima. Human nature helps us understand how people think and live. Humans often ask questions about their identity and the meaning of life. This shows that human life is not simple and cannot be understood from one point of view. Many things affect human behavior, such as emotions, beliefs, and personal experience. In Islam, humans are more than just physical bodies. They also have a spiritual side that guides their actions. Islam teaches that humans can think, learn, and make responsible choices. Life has a clear purpose, and humans are expected to use their abilities in a positive ways.
I am Ala Ahmed. When we talk about human nature, many people think it's very important. They believe that if we understand what humans really are like, we can decide how society should work and how moral rules should be made. In the past, many philosophers thought human nature was fixed and the same everywhere, but today many modern scholars are not sure about this. Anthropologists say that human behavior is shaped by both biology and cultures are different around the world. Also, evolutionary theory shows that humans continue to change over time. Because of this, many scholars now think human nature may not be completely fixed. So, the debate about human nature is still open today.
Human nature plays an integral role within philosophy, ethics, and politics, as it gives us the ability to better understand ourselves, each other, and society. For some of those philosophers, they have reasoned that there is no change to human nature, whilst for other philosophers, human nature develops due to life experience. Many of the philosophers viewed humans as being rational beings and social beings in their studies. However, psychology has moved away from any form of religious belief in their study of human behavior.
Following that, Islamic psychology explains human nature through the concept of fitra, meaning humans are born pure and inclined towards goodness. Humans are created with dignity, purpose, and moral responsibility, which guides their behavior throughout life. Human nature in Islamic psychology. In contrast, Western psychology focuses on human behavior through reason, social interaction, and life experiences. It largely avoids religious or spiritual explanations and instead explains human nature through scientific and environmental factors. When comparing both views between Islamic psychology and Western, Islamic psychology offers a holistic a holistic understanding by including spiritual and moral dimensions, while modern psychology takes a secular and scientific approach. Also both study the human behavior, their foundations and purposes are very, very, very different. Thank you.
Humans are born with an innate disposition toward goodness, ethical awareness, and recognition of God, and this means we are naturally inclined to do what is right and seek virtue. However, having this potential doesn't automatically make someone ethical, so we need to think of it like a seed that has the ability to grow, but it still needs water and sunlight and care. So similarly, with the human potential, it requires proper cultivation through learning and reflection and spiritual practice. And humans are multidimensional beings, and we need to work on our emotions and spirituality, so this allows us to reflect, make choices, and develop our character over time. So, as an example, a child may naturally feel empathy towards others, which is part of their fitra, but without guidance from parents, teachers, or religious, going back to that example, like that is that it needs water and sunlight to grow, same thing with the parents, or teachers, or religious teachings, this empathy might not be fully developed into consistent moral behavior. And another example of fitra could be the innate sense of fairness. So many children instinctively recognize when something is unjust or when someone is being treated unfairly. So this natural sense of justice can grow into ethical decision, making it nurtured properly. Lastly, Islamic philosophy evaluates humans' nature positively, while humans have tendencies towards goodness, and these tendencies must be worked on and developed to achieve spiritual fulfillment. And human development then it's an ongoing process of growth and reflection and moral responsibility.
Talk about why moral and social responsibilities are essential. In Islamic thought, humans are essential. Humans are seen as naturally social beings. This means that our ethical and moral development isn't something that happens in isolation. It's closely connected to how we interact with other people. We're expected to act responsibly towards society, following principles of justice, helping those in need, and engage in ethical behavior. Think about it like a moral responsibility isn't just a personal matter. When we fulfill our duties toward others, it reflects our integrity. For example, volunteering, supporting friends and treating strangers fairly, or expressing ethical development, they help strengthen the moral fabric of society. Islamic philosophy links personal morality directly with societal health. In other words, a person's ethical growth is connected to their engagement with others. You can't really separate your moral development from the way you interact and contribute to your community. From an evaluation perspective, this view highlights that humans are ethically accountable for their actions toward others. Fulfilling this responsibility isn't only for personal growth, but also for the well-being of the wider society. It also reminds us that moral development is an active process. It requires conscious effort and meaningful interaction with social environment. In short, being a responsible and ethical person is not just about yourself. It's about how you positively impact the people around you.
Next, let's look at how human nature is shaped by society and the environment. From a sociological perspective, illustrated here through Ibn Khaldun, our behavior is strongly influenced by the social, cultural, and environmental factors around us. While humans have innate tendencies towards both good and bad, these tendencies are expressed and shaped by our surroundings. For instance, children who grew up in a fair and cooperative societies often develop higher levels of empathy and ethical behavior. On the other hand, those exposed to neglect, injustice, or toxic environments may develop selfish or harmful tendencies. So our upbringing, the values of our community, educational opportunities, and societal structures all play a big role in shaping who we become. Ibn Khaldun also points out that this influence isn't limited to family or local communities. Broader societal institutions like politics, economy, and cultural norms create an environment that either encourages ethical behavior or allows vice to flourish. In this sense, human nature is highly contextual. Potential alone isn't enough, and the environment determines how that potential is realized. Evaluating this perspective, we see that humans are malleable, and the social and environmental context is crucial in shaping behavior. Without supportive societal structures, ethical guidance, and education is destructible. This reminds us that to understand human behavior, we must consider both innate tendencies and the external factors that shape them.
I will briefly discuss the ontological nature of the human being, the relationship between body and soul. In Western philosophy, thinkers gave different answers about human nature. Plato believed in dualism. The body and soul are separate. The soul is eternal and rational, while the body is temporary. Aristotle disagreed. Through his idea of hylomorphism, he argued that the body and soul are united, the body is matter, and the soul gives it life and purpose. During the Enlightenment, materialism developed. Thinkers like Thomas Hobbes argue that humans are purely physical beings and that consciousness comes from biological processes. In contrast, the Islamic view teaches that humans have a divine origin. Ibn Sina's floating man thought experiment shows that even without the bodies or senses, a person would still know they exist, proving that soul is immaterial. Al-Ghazali also emphasized the spiritual heart as the center of moral awareness. So the question remains, are we just biological machines or beings with a divine soul?
Hello everyone, this is Burhana and today I'll be explaining Islamic perspective on human nature. In Islamic philosophy, human nature is defined by fitra, an innate moral compass we are born with. This suggests that morality isn't just a social invention, it's an internal awareness of truth already embedded with us. To navigate this, we are gifted with inculcate and sense that they aren't just for gathering data, they are tools that allows us to recognize our moral responsibilities. This makes human nature technological, meaning we have clear, higher purpose, spiritual development, and accountability to God. Finally, as Ben Khaldun observed, this nature is also deeply social. We are built to cooperate and form civilization based on justice. Now that we have left a spiritual and social foundation in the Islamic transition, I will be passing it over to Elisa, who will provide a different lens by discussing the foundation of Western philosophy.
I'll explain the Western philosophical perspective on human nature. Western philosophy often understands human nature through reason and observation. A key thinker is Aristotle, who studied the relationship between the body and the soul. He argued that the soul gives life and function to the body, and that rational thought is the defining characteristic of human beings. Unlike Islamic philosophy, Aristotle's approach relies mainly on logic and empirical observation rather than divine revelation. As a result, Western philosophy places stronger emphasis on intellectual ability and natural world function. In this view, what makes humans unique is their capacity to think rationally and understand the world through reason. And that's all from me. Next, my friend Rafael will talk about the comparative of Western and Islamic perspective.
When comparing these perspectives, both traditions attempt to explain what makes humans special. Islamic philosophy emphasizes moral responsibility and spiritual purposes, while Western philosophy highlights rational thoughts and natural functions. However, understanding human nature only through rational ability may overlook moral and spiritual dimensions. At the same time, focusing on only spirituality may underestimate the importance of reason. In modern life, rational thinking has contributed to technological advancements. Yet, without ethical responsibility, technologies can create problems such as environmental damage. Therefore, both logical reasoning and ethical awareness are necessary to build balanced and sustainable societies.
We will talk about human nature in Islamic and Western philosophy. Our paper compares how both traditional understanding identity and morality, purpose, and society. We studied Western thinkers like Plato and Aristotle, and Islamic scholars such as Ibn Sina and Al-Ghazi and other Islamic scholars. We found that even though they are different, both traditions try to answer the same questions. What does it mean to be human? In Islamic philosophy, humans are created beings with fitra, which means an innate moral nature. Humans have spiritual purpose, moral responsibility, and social duties guided by divine principles.
Western philosophy developed differently over time. It moved toward focusing more on reason, science, and understanding life in a material way. But our paper does not say one tradition is better than the other. Instead, we believe both are important and can complement each other. Human nature is complex. It includes reason, morality, and social responsibility. No single tradition can explain everything completely. Our analysis is supported by 10 academic references from both Islamic and Western scholars, which helped us compare these perspectives carefully and objectively.
By bringing these references together, we gain a deeper and more balanced understanding of what it truly means to be a human.